Welcome to Glasgow Rangers Nation. I'm your host, Owen James. This is the channel that brings you your team every single day. So please smash that sub, ring that notification bell so you never miss out on any of that fantastic content. So, look, we are in a difficult financial position. And it looks like unless we move Deadwood off or we move out players, there is going to be very little inward coming players over the next few weeks. We know that we have to sell to buy. Philippe Clement said that in his interview. He also spoke about a number of other things. Now, obviously, the sell to buy thing has been the primary story. The whole issue around that, the whole issue around obviously what happened in October when he was employed, that has been the major story that has been reported by the press, has been talked about by Rangers fans, Rangers podcasts across the last few days. Now, that wasn't the only topic that he spoke about. He spoke obviously about players. He spoke about player availability. He spoke about players' transfers, linked to obviously that first comment. Now, he said that, of course, that every player has his price, which, is very much accurate. However, he did go on to say that, in his opinion, Jack Butland is irreplaceable. And if you want to sign Jack Butland, it will cost you somewhere in the region of 35 to 40 million. That was Philippe Clement's words. Now, I very much doubt we would get 35 to 40 million for Jack Butland. I think that's very much a hands off. He's not for sale kind of price tag. Now, so that is the issue. Now, why did this conversation come about? Why did he start talking about player values? Why did he talk about the fact that every player has a price and all that? Now, this all came in response to a question asked by Andy Newport as regards the availability and the likelihood of Connor Goldson and James Tavernier to exit the football club over the next few weeks. Now, we know that James Tavernier and we know that Connor Goldson have been linked with exits over the last few weeks. It has been highly spoken about. It has been highly talked about. Now, Tav has been linked with moves to Saudi, to Al Ettifaq, to Besiktas. There's also been reports that Connor Goldson may head to Saudi with Al Ettifaq. There was reports linking Goldson with a move to Bolton earlier in the window, a club now where Scotty Arfield is. There was also a talk and report of Birmingham City, League One, now Birmingham City, also been interested in Connor Goldson, seeing him as an experienced presence at the back that could help lead their promotion charge this season. They've all been stories that have done the rounds in the media, and there's very much been the story of Glasgow, the story of the blue side of Glasgow, with the future of the captain and vice-captain. Now, Philippe Clement branded all of that as fake news in his press conference with the media. Donald Trump-esque. He just didn't do the hands. Now, look, I think, that we knew that come the end of the season that there would be stories about players leaving. We knew come the end of the season there would be stories about experienced professionals, long-serving members of this football club leaving. Why did we think that? Because Philippe Clement himself said that it was time for a new broom, it was time for a sea change, it was time for a reset, it was time to move on players. It's time to really reset this club. And of course, when you talk about resetting the club, when you talk about moving on, you talk very much about, getting rid of those pros that have been here a long period of time and really pushing the club forward. Now, that, of course, looks at those experienced players, the players that have been here a long time, the Kemar Roofe, Borna Barisic, John Lundstrom, Connor Goldson, James Tavernier, Ryan Jack, and of those players, only really now Connor Goldson and James Tavernier remain. We know that Lundstrom and Barisic left because they were out of contract, went to Trabzonspor in Turkey. We know that Kemar Roofe has left. We know that obviously he is gone. So we don't know where he hasn't got a contract at this moment in time. It leaves really much Tav and Goldson as the remaining pair. Now, James Tavernier, of course, extra kind of stories about him because he is the captain of Rangers. He has got outstanding stats. I think it's 125 goals, 127 assists in his time with the club. And there's been a kind of dependency on Tav over the years from Rangers to dig them out of the shit, with goals in the Europa League, goals in cup finals, etc., etc. So that's just what it is. That's how it is. Now, I'm not denying for a minute that James Tavernier has been influential for the club over his period of time with Rangers. He has scored some vital goals. He has made some vital final interventions into games. He is kind of, he has in the past got us through games. His goals have been invaluable. His assists also. His penalties have been influential at times, and Tav has played a central role. But I think, looking forward, we've got to kind of look at the evolution of this club, the revolution of this club, the rebuild of this club. James Tavernier and Connor Goldson are, the wrong side of 30. They are not going to develop. They are not going to get any better. They are not going to become better players overnight. So I think, everyone's nightmare scenario is that come the 3rd of August, running out of time, Castle, this will be the back five. Now, I think we could all see Jack Butland in goal, outstanding keeper, top level keeper. Ridvan Yilmaz, also outstanding left back, and to some degree as well, John Suter. I know some of the fans don't rate Suter. Personally, I like Suter. I think he's a good player. I think he brings the ball out from the back well. I think he distributes the ball well. I think, yes, he does have a mistake in him, but like I've said on numerous occasions, if he didn't, would he be playing with Rangers or would he be in the EPL? Big story there. But look, if you look over the season from March till the end of the season, there was a lot of goals that came down the right side of our defence due to weaknesses there, because teams saw that Connor Goldson and James Tavernier were the weak points of our defence. I am not criticising James Tavernier's attacking play. I am not saying that was bad. What I am saying is the defensive side of his game was not good as the season progressed. His fitness, I think, was an issue. He'd slowed down to some degree. Connor Goldson, again, had got worse. He gave away the same goal, that ball over the top when he falls asleep 4 times. He turned off a number of key times. He was even, I think, so-called dropped towards the end of the season. So, there is a need, I think, to reevaluate this back four. Obviously now with Borna Barisic gone, you've got rid of a number of players who were there during 55. Tav and Goldson are those surviving members. There is a need, I think, to really start to take this club in a new direction. You've kind of got to think that if the captain and vice captain are still there come the 3rd of August, are we really taking this club on a new direction? Are we really rebuilding this club? Are we really pushing this club in the right direction? Now, look, I understand quite fully that we've got to sell to buy. I understand quite fully that the squad is currently very bloated at 31 members, way over what we should be carrying. Our wage bill is exceptionally high. And James Tavernier and Connor Goldson are 2 of the top wage earners at this club. 38,000 a week for Goldson, 30,000 a week for James Tavernier. Now, the majority of reports as regards Tavernier and Goldson have come with links to the Saudis, with them moving to Saudi Arabia. Now, the Saudi window opens on the 17th of July. Yes, there have been a few deals that have been discussed and been kind of muted and kind of, sort of backdoor sealed to Saudi, as there was, before the transfer window opened here in Europe. Now, that is understandable. If any movement is going to come, I think for Tavernier and Goldson, it's going to come once the Saudi window opens on the 17th. If there is no movement, if the Saudis aren't interested in Tavernier and Goldson, if El Ettifaq or the team that James Bisgrove has gone to, I know they were rumoured to be interested in James Tavernier. Obviously, James Bisgrove is the CEO there now. He knows Tav and Goldson very well. I know he rates James Tavernier. I know that team have a substantial budget due to the fact they are owned by Aramco, who have countless millions of pounds or billions of pounds thanks to their oil wealth. They could well obviously fund a deal. Now, like I said, I think that if any movement is going to come up with Tav and Goldson, it's going to come once the Saudi window opens. Now, the Saudis do pay big transfer fees for players. I think if we could get somewhere between 5 and 10 million pounds for the pair, we would be doing exceptionally well. I think talk of 10, 15 million for James Tavernier is highly unrealistic, given the fact that he is the wrong side of 30, given the fact that we've seen a major downturn in his form, given the fact that from March onwards, he was probably one of the worst players on the field in defence. Not going forward, not great, not terrible, okay, not too bad. So I think there is an element there where if Saudis do come a-calling, we do get somewhere between 5 and 10 million. That is vital money that can come in and help to bolster the squad. Now, given the fact there are still very many areas of this squad that need to be addressed, this is not a championship winning side. like I keep saying to you, I don't want to hear about the other side of the city. I don't care who they've signed. I don't care about their preseason results, because you know full well they will bang up for this. You know full well that Brendan Rodgers will have them ready for the start of the season. So look, let's not even go there. It's about us now. It's about us preparing a squad, us preparing a team, us preparing to be successful, us getting these guys ready to go as of the 3rd of August. Now, if we can raise somewhere between 5 and 10 million through the sale of James Tavernier and Connor Goldson, then that is good business for this club. That will give us money that we can then reinvest. Look at bringing in an additional centre-back, an additional central midfielder, an attacking midfielder, bring in a striker. You know, look at where we can go with this squad. It needs to be strengthened. It needs to be developed. And the only way forward is to raise money. Now, if your most saleable assets are people like Tav, Goldson, Cantwell, Dessers to some degree, then that is unfortunately the way we're going to have to go if we're going to raise money. Now, I know that people talk, and I've said in the past that Tav and Goldson need to be moved on. I think they do. They've reached the end of their usefulness. I honestly think that they have been great servants for the club. James Tavernier has provided many outstanding moments for this club and has certainly served this club exceptionally well. But a time comes when you must move on. You must kind of see a natural end to your time somewhere, that, you know, you kind of serve your useful purposeness there. He has, I think, reached that point now where those past glories, those past good performances, he is unable to get back there. You know, once you reach 31, 32 in football terms, the body starts to say no, the body starts to slow down, and you cannot reach the levels that you used to be able to reach in the past. And that's where we are with Goldson and Tavernier. If we can raise money for them, if we can sell them on, it's all big ifs. It is time to do it now. Leave another season, leave another 2 seasons. Once they're out of contract, they walk for nothing. And again, you lose all that money. You don't get anything back. It also frees up a large amount of wages, again, which can be reinvested into the team. So that's where we're at with those two. So I think, you know, whilst there has been a lot of speculation that is probably untrue, as Clement himself said, we have to sort of wait now to the 17th. I think the Saudi window is where any bid is going to come from. So look, that's where we are with Tav and Goldson. You know, it is fake news in the past. Now we have to look forward, you know, until something concrete is on the table, until we see, you know, definitely something reported. There's been so much supposition and so much, you know, rumor about them. We have to wait now to the 17th to find out, once the Saudi window opens, is that interest from El Ettifaq, excuse me, is that interest from Bisgrove's club actually genuine in these players? Right, guys, let me know what you think in the comments down below. Now, it's not just obviously James Tavernier and Connor Goldson. There is a amount of speculation around Todd Cantwell as well. Look, Todd Cantwell and the manager, I genuinely think, do not see eye to eye. I think there has been a substantial breakdown in the relationship there. You only got to look at how they were at the end of the cup final, the fact that Cantwell was dropped on a number of occasions for Old Firm games, for you know, games where perhaps he could have actually served a useful purpose. Todd Cantwell carries a circus around him. We know that. That is Todd Cantwell. He is a player who has that social media presence. That social media presence can often go against him and paint him in the wrong light. Now, we know that at this moment in time, Cantwell is not playing for Rangers. He has not been involved in any of these pre-season games. He was not involved in the Standard Liège game. He was not involved in the Ajax game at the weekend. It remains to be seen whether he will be involved in the Manchester United game coming up on Saturday. Now, when he was questioned about Todd Cantwell, the manager said that he has small things or something like that along those lines going on. So is it injuries? Is it attitude? Is it some other issue that is there that, you know, that hasn't been outlined? There is quite clearly something wrong there. There is quite clearly something not quite right with what is going on with Cantwell. And the time comes when you've kind of got to sit down and evaluate this. Now, I'm a big fan of Todd Cantwell. You know that I love Cantwell. I think he's a good player. I think, you know, if we can get him motivated, if we can get him consistent, he could become one of the best players in Scotland by a long, long way. He's skillful. He can go past the man. He can play a killer pass. He can take a shot. He can score a goal. He just doesn't do it consistently enough. That is the big weakness with Todd Cantwell. A lot of that is around attitude. A lot of that is around ego. A lot of that is around the treatment he gets off other teams. There's a whole plethora of reasons why he perhaps doesn't live up to what he should be capable of. Now, in terms of Cantwell and the future, you've got to kind of start to weigh it up in terms of the circus brand Cantwell. Is that worth having around the club? Is that worth that skill, that talent that he's got, given the fact that he brings that whole host of other drama with him, the social media drama, the brand Cantwell drama, all that kind of stuff with him? That, you know, maybe, as you know, as manager said himself, every player has a price. So if someone comes in with a bid for Cantwell, and I think, you know, if we were going to sell him, you'd want a decent amount of money for him. You know, you wouldn't want 1-2 million. That is unrealistic. I think 4-5 million is more than realistic for Todd Cantwell at this stage. Again, every player has his price. Now, personally, I hope that he stays. Personally, I hope that he goes on to have great success with Rangers. I've got no worry about that. But there is always that concern, isn't there, in the back of your mind, that consistency, that the media circus that surrounds him, the social media side of things, you know, is number one going to take his eye off the ball and mean that he will not always perform with his best? And number two, affect the team. If the team see him constantly in the media, constantly in the social media, constantly posting these stupid things, you could get a backlash against that among certain players. Any dressing room problems causes a fracture there, causes issues on the pitch. And that's what you do not need, you know, at this moment in time. So, look, I think Cantwell, we've kind of reached that crossroads with him now. He's got to decide which way he is going to go. Is he going to buckle down under Philippe Clement, build himself up to be the player we know he's capable of being, and be consistently that player? Or are the club going to decide he is not worth the risk and they're going to move him on? Maybe the fact that he has been absent for a number of games kind of drops a little bit of a hint on that one. It may not. Who knows? Right, final story today. It was confirmed yesterday that Rangers will be using Hampden Park up to the 5th of September, which is the Scotland-Poland Nations League game. Rangers obviously did report that they were close to a deal for Hampden. It has now been confirmed that any Champions League qualifiers for home purposes will be staged at Hampden Park, and the home games against Motherwell and Ross County will both be staged at Hampden Park. Rangers will pay, obviously, to rent the stadium, and also will pay towards the relaying and redevelopment of the Hampden pitch post the Pink music concert. Obviously, you've got to question the wisdom in terms of the board and the fact that obviously this is going to cost the board an arm and a leg. Paying for renting the stadium and paying for the pitch relay. As you can see from that image as well, the view, for the supporters, the experience for the supporters, it will not be as good as it is at Ibrox, because, you know, the fans are set back from the pitch. Whereas at Ibrox, they're right on top of the pitch. So there will be an experience for that. Now, is the situation going to be that they will offer season ticket holders a compensation or a refund if they don't wish to attend Hampden? I mean, obviously, I think there's less of a situation because, obviously, you know, had the games been hosted at Murrayfield, that is 45 miles away. That's in a different city. Perhaps supporters would have slightly more of a leg to stand on. This is at Hampden, which is in Glasgow still. Not the same part of Glasgow, granted, in Mount Florida, as opposed to Govan. So, look, at the end of the day, there is that one. It will be interesting to see how season tickets will be allocated for these games and how tickets will be allocated for these games by the club. You know, whatever it happens, we need to get into. We need to fill Hampden. We need to make sure that when we are there, we are raising the roof and creating the atmosphere that we create in Ibrox, whether it be a Champions League qualifier or the home league games against Motherwell or Ross County. Well, guys, let me know what you think of the stories we've covered in today's video. Please, obviously, smash that sub. Thank you for watching Glasgow Rangers Nation, guys. As always, on the way out, if you could smash the like, and also remember, always, we are the people.